Hello folks, it's Untitled, and today I wanted to discuss a very important topic actually, and it often gets overlooked because we get so caught up in what's in the birth chart and why it's there, and rather than thinking about what to do about it. So of course the essence of Jyotish is to identify the karmic points in your birth chart and perhaps your purpose and your spiritual path. But also one of the essential tools that Jyotish gives us is how to remedy this karma so that it is manageable and so that your goals are achievable. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to speak about each planet and the remedial measures for them individually. But first I want to cover some very general points about remedies and what they mean. So this info is going to be repeated in the earlier few minutes of each video. Okay, so let's get started with that, yeah? Okay, so the first thing to keep in mind with remedies is that you need discipline, which means you need to be regular. You need to have a sustainable spiritual practice so that you can be regular. This could include a pranayama practice for a few minutes daily. It could include daily concentrated meditation technique that you have. It can include mantra japa. It could include yoga daily or a few times a week. Fasting is another great practice. The energy that the body puts into digestion is then reverted to healing. So if your body is healing, you can be sure that your thoughts are as well. Mantras are very effective, but this depends on your chart. If, for example, you have a poor fifth house or fifth lord, then it may or may not work for you. But nonetheless, regardless of that, you can always benefit from doing mantra chanting for your ascendant lord, nonetheless. Seva, I find, is the best remedy for any issue. It could be volunteer work, it could be giving donation, but if you're only giving donation and not doing something else, you may not see much difference. Because unless you're involved in a regular practice, then the shift inside of you doesn't take place. Yeah, so it's very important to have something in conjunction with seva, with donation especially. You may feel good for a few minutes when you make that donation, but that's about it. I don't feel that the internal shift will take place. Certainly not to a degree that it will be a stabilizing shift or a staying shift. So it might be something that you notice that changes, but it will be very transient and temporary. So if you're just doing donation, then you might want to supplement it with other practices. I've actually devoted a page on my website with ideas for donation connected to each and every planet. So have a look at that. It's basically anahitara.com. These are merely ideas. I don't have any affiliation with these organizations that are mentioned there, but so just for you to get an idea of what the possibilities are out there. I'm not really a big advocate of gemstones unless they come from a very reliable source. And even then, you have to know how to energize them properly before wearing them and before expecting any sort of impact. If you are into gemstones, then I can recommend a good book which speaks about the healing powers of gemstones, and that's by Harish Johari. Now, there's two schools of thoughts when it comes to gemstones. One is use the natural malefic stones if they rule good houses, and the other is only use the natural benefics ruling good houses. My suggestion would initially be to play it safe and go with the second school of thought. So, for instance, if you're a Leo lagna, don't use the red coral, even though Mars is your yoga karaka planet, because it's a natural malefic. Instead, use the yellow sapphire, because Jupiter is benefic and it rules your fifth house. So when you wear a stone in your right hand, this is ruled by Jupiter, so it will increase the stone's good energy. The left hand is ruled by Venus, and it decreases energy. So if you're wearing for Saturn during Saturn's Dasha, for example, then you might want to do it on the left hand to decrease Saturn's impact, perhaps. As I said, however, gemstone is not the remedy that I would recommend, because for a remedy to be really effective, you must participate in the action, because in this way you will be burning off the old karma. Right? Because karma in itself is action, so you need action to burn that off. So the karma that is standing in the way basically creates an obstacle for anything that we desire in life. It gets into the mind, body, and soul. And if you're involved actively in something to remedy that, then you are feeling the effects on all of those levels. To combat it. If you wear a gemstone, then again do so in conjunction with another remedy, such as kriya, such as fasting, such as mantra japa on a daily basis, and of course seva is fantastic, and so is donation. Yeah. So let's get started with the planets now. Okay, so how to improve your Venus? Now, first of all, what is Venus anyway? It's also known as Shukra in Sanskrit, which essentially means sugar. So basically, it's the sweetness or the juice of life. Yeah. It's also sustenance in the form of semen. That's also signified by Venus. So if your Venus is strong, then you're going to be good at attracting other people into your life. And it will also bring comforts and luxury, inclination towards arts and poetry and film, beautiful things, romantic love, prosperity, wealth, harmony, and a kind nature. So now let's talk about what would make a Venus afflicted in your chart. What are some of the symptoms that you would be able to see to feel that your Venus is afflicted, or perhaps another person's Venus is afflicted? So you are selfish in love, and you always want to take rather than give. That would be one symptom. You make wrong choices in selecting relationship partners. You're looking for someone too perfect. This is especially the case if Ketu is forming a close aspect or a conjunction to Venus, as this is a tendency to over-idolize people and also at the same time think that no one is good enough because of that, because of the over-idolizing. Another symptom would be you're going from one relationship to another constantly. And this is especially true if you have a Rahu conjunction or aspect on Venus, because this brings the urge for many relationships. People having these conjunctions should be especially watchful of the company they keep, whether it's in real life or on social media, because the mind can be easily swayed by that which is a complete illusion. So easy for those with either badly placed or very, very much sort of afflicted Venus. I would say it's easy for them to be obsessive as well about others. So for instance, if you have Moon with Venus, that can make one too sensitive and too needy in relationships. And in this case, what happens sometimes if that person doesn't get enough attention, they'll just ditch the relationship, or they will seek someone else. Venus gets exalted in Pisces. And so to strengthen Venus, we can look at some activities that are related to the natural 12th house. So for instance, cultivate compassion, be more compassionate and kind to everyone, be humanitarian, give selflessly, so do charitable acts, increase sadhana through meditation and retreat, again 12th house, get enough sleep, get into painting or any artistic activity, spend time in nature, practice surrender to a higher power, spend time alone, so don't be too dependent on others or just run to just anyone when you're lonely. For afflictions to Venus, you can make donations to battered wives or other groups that support the upliftment of women or the empowerment of women. Help people get married. Donate to projects to end child marriages. That's a good one. Support artistic or performance foundations. You can keep a fast on a Friday, because that's Venus's day. You can listen to Durga Chalisa, any mantra for Lakshmi or Durga, or Saraswati, any of the goddesses. The benefits, of course, would be more patience, ability to defer gratification. It also improves luck with attracting money, and of course good for relationships, especially marriage and long-term relationships. And of course it goes without saying that once you improve your Venus, the houses that Venus rules in your chart automatically give better results. Yeah.